Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of TV6 Investigate Talks. And today we're going to talk about stolen vehicles. Definitely a hot topic here in the Quad Cities. And the good news is that they're going down.
That's right, Jenna. We did a public records request not too long ago and asked for the number of stolen cars in each one of the metro cities going back several years. We got that records request back and kind of stuck it in our pocket for a minute and had that data. And then when we saw the Blessing case, this is the girl who went missing in Rock Island. Turned out her mother had concocted the whole abduction, made up.
Right.
But that case started with a stolen car, and at first police, and investigators really believed that the girl had been taken by car thieves. And at those initial press conferences and communications to the public, they were, raising the issue again about stolen cars and how they've been a problem in the Quad Cities, and how, maybe this was an example of it escalating or whatever. So, so we went out and got that data. And then last week I kind of put together a little story just based on that, kind of what police are seeing. And, I think one of the interesting things besides the data is sort of why it's going down. So let's go through the data really quick because it's kind of interesting. Forgive me, but I got notes here. But in 2023, there were 1,142 cars stolen in the Quad Cities. Last year, that number fell to just 847. So, and it's the first year that we've seen this number of stolen cars go down in the metro in a long, long time. And so, it's a good sign.
Right.
So I asked folks, what's driving this? And a couple of things, police here say that, folks are catching on to the message about lock up your cars and all the campaigns that they've really worked hard on to try to get this message out. But part of it is kind of technical too. The Hyundai Elantra and the Hyundai Sonata, the Kia Optima, the Kia Soul, those were all the top stolen car models in 2023. Now, if you remember, Kia and Hyundai have that engineering weakness that makes them easier to steal. The theft detection isn't great, and it has to do with something called engine immobilizers. I don't know how an internal combustion engine works, so I'm not exactly.
No idea.
But anyway, it makes them easier to steal.
Okay.
So the manufacturers went back and said, okay, this is a problem. Let's adjust this, and they become harder to steal. So with fewer cars sort of just out there for the picking, that kind of drops the numbers down a little bit. They still continue to be some of the most stolen cars. The Elantra, the Sonata, the Optima are still all in that top 5, but then the numbers for them are way down. Like that Elantra was almost 50,000 cars sold in 2023. It was closer to 32,000 last year. So a big difference there. The other thing I kind of thought was interesting in the data too is that Silverado pickup trucks were for a very long time the number 1 stolen vehicle until
Interesting.
and I think it's just because there's so many of them that they're
just numbers.
And they're valuable. Here the stolen cars are just getting driven a few blocks, junked, abandoned, and the thieves jump into another car.
Right.
We've all heard this before. It's mostly young folks or teenagers, smaller groups of them who are doing almost all the car thefts in town. So
it's a game.
It's a game, and then they're posting it on social media, and that's a whole other thing that we address in our reporting and our story too.
Yeah.
But when I talked to the police, they weren't surprised that the numbers were going down, but I got a lot of smiles and nods. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. I mean, still, obviously, we want people to lock their cars, keep your valuables, out of sight, bring them in with you. The campaign still stands, but I mean, it is good news that it's going down.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think after your neighbor's car gets stolen or somebody in, your family or something, you start to think about those precautionary measures a little bit more. And I think when you have so many stolen cars, you have so many people affected by this who are thinking, okay, I got to listen to what they're saying here and lock up those cars. Take your valuables inside. Park in a well-lit area.
Right.
All of those are good tips to get your car, to prevent your car from being stolen. If it is, police say contact them right away. This is not a low-level crime where it's like somebody stole something out of your garage or
Yeah.
something. This is, you know, a
They
more-
take it seriously.
They take it very seriously.
Yeah.
That's right. So make that call. Let them know that car is gone. And then call your insurance company too. I think that's a step that a lot of people forget sometimes,
Yeah.
is to bring that insurance company into the loop as soon as possible.
For sure. And you know, you did talk a little bit about the blessing case, and that was one that just raised everybody's alarm. And if we can take anything good out of it, I think a lot of people learned, like, we saw a lot of Facebook comments in there, like, oh, I let my car warm up too.
Yeah.
And I've left my kid in there for a second too, thinking nothing of it. So at least, you know, that brought some light. Didn't really happen in this case, but her car was stolen in this case. That was real. So
Yeah.
at least that brought a
While it
little
was
bit
running
of
out in
recognition.
front of the house.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, and we should know nationwide stolen cars are down as well.
That's true.
But we're more obviously focusing on our area because it's been a big thing in our area for many years now.
Right. You touched on the national numbers.
Yeah.
It was 850,700 cars stolen nationally last year. But that's down from 1 million the year before. So again, you know, you're seeing a 10-20% drop there. So
Which is all good news.
Yeah.
Thankful for that, and hopefully they continue to go down because it is not fun to have your car stolen. All right, well, thanks for joining. It's not happened to me, but I can imagine it
neither,
would be the
but
biggest
yeah.
nightmare. All right, well, thanks for joining us on TV6 Investigate Talks. As always, you can find all of our investigative stories on the TV6 Investigates tab on kwqc.com.